Jay Leno called you because he was reading the Day One book.
It's Jay and I are friendly. Jay has a lot of friends in the automotive hobby, certainly.
Yes. And he's such a good guy that there's no way that anyone could feel like they're not his friend once they meet him.
Right. And what happens is Jay will call me occasionally, sometimes once a year, sometimes twice a year, sometimes at night. Whenever he decides to call me. A few years ago, probably more than a few years ago, I'm lying in bed watching TV, about to fall asleep, and the phone rings. I was in New York City. We have an apartment in Manhattan. I was about to fall asleep and the phone rings. And I answered the phone. He says, "Yo, Marty." And I said, "Who's this?" He says, "Jay." I said, "Jay who?" He thought I was kidding. And so sometimes his voice is not recognizable on the phone. Most of the time it is. Anyway, he called me on a Saturday afternoon out of the blue. And I said, "What's happening? Well, how come you calling?" "Well, I'm reading your book, Day One, and it is absolutely fantastic." So I said, "It took you long enough. It came out 2 years ago." And he said, "Well, I'm reading it and I love it. And what can I do for you to help you promote the book?" So I said, "Jay, I don't try not to take advantage of friends. What do you have in mind?" He says, "Well, I want to write you some nice words that you can use to promote the book." And I was totally blindsided. I did not expect anything. And so he sent me an email, which I looked at later on. And he went from my book to start talking about Ford GTs immediately. And the next 15 minutes, at least, we were talking about Ford GTs and laughing. And he told me about a situation that after I heard what it was, I said, "You should definitely add this to your repertoire, even though people may not understand what the hell a Ford GT is. They will be hysterical." And what he said was, I took my GT into California Motor Vehicle to get it emission tested, and the damn check engine light came on. So I didn't know what the hell to do, and they wouldn't approve the car. It failed the emissions test. So I go back to my mechanic, and he makes some adjustments, and I go back to Motor Vehicle, and I fail again. I said, "I don't know what the hell to do." So I called up these guys called the GT guys, and they make a number of products for Ford GTs, and they work on people's cars, and they build cars. They're great guys. And they told me what to do. So I said, "Jay, did you disconnect your battery without keeping the car on current?" He said, "Yeah." "How'd you know that?" I says, "Well, if you do that, it throws everything out of sync. The car has to be kept on 12 volts. Ford GTs are susceptible to problems like that." So the solution, and you have to listen to it from him, not from me, was this litany of garbage that you have to do that nobody's going to believe. They're not going to believe it. You have to put the car in first gear and drive like 1.4 miles. And then you have to make a left turn. And then you go down the block and you have to make a right turn. And then you have to make a left turn. And then the engine light will go out. And he says, "You're not going to believe this. I did exactly what they said. And the engine light went out." He says, I don't know what happened. I went back and my car passed emissions. And so
That's hilarious.
the way he tells it, it's hilarious. The way I tell it.
This has been Jeff Stearns, Connected Through Cars.